Why not, you know? Why not something educational, shall we? I don't know. I see it well, I don't know if it's true or not. There's more streamer war drama. Well, not really more. Well, apparently, okay. So apparently, in the streamer ward, in the streamer wards, right? At least, you know, let me give you a tidbit or so, because I've been kind of like listening to what's been happening or so. Apparently, there's some streamers so that said that they were threatening to beat up and essay the Asian girl that was making the Diddy jokes. Well, basically just making the jokes or so on the thing or so, right? Of course, the guy who told this story, right, didn't really expose the person who did it, right? But apparently the person decided to speak out on the actual situation, and they found out that it was basically this streamer. Of course, it was a you know, you know, if he didn't say anything, he would have been fine. But apparently, you know, he exposed himself by saying it, that it was him, you know, but he's like, but he didn't say like, oh, I didn't say that, I said this and I said that, and then there's all this other shit, and then there's like some other, there's some other stuff too as well, but it's kind of a little bit kind of like crazy though. But anyways, that'll be a different topic for another time. I want to talk about Japan just shocked the world with their futuristic technology. I want to see if they're living in the year of 2075, even though they're still using fax machines for some apparent reason, and still doing a lot of other things the old-fashioned way, to be honest. So, let's not talk about the streamer war. Let's talk about something more interesting, to be honest. Something a little bit more different. That's what I'm curious about, to be honest, to see what's going on here specifically. Let's see, what do we got here? I'm so curious what this is all about. Maybe it'd be something interesting.
Japan just shocked the world with what they're building. While the rest of the world debates the future, Japan is already living in it. Robots caring for the elderly, trains hanging upside down, underground temples.
Oh yeah, Scrap. Did you manage to go to that by any chance? Did you manage to go to like a train that's like doing that right now? That's my curiosity. Did you ever went to this thing by any chance? The train that just like that does this? That looks pretty cool though. That looks really cool. Nah, you didn't. Shaking my head.
Underground temples controlling floods, giant mechs you can pilot. This isn't about cool gadgets. Japan is solving the biggest crisis any developed nation has ever faced, an aging population that should cripple their economy. Instead, they're building technologies that look straight out of science fiction.
You know for a fact, right? You know for 100% fact, this, I bet you $10 this is like a food delivery thing. You know for 100% of fact that this will never happen. Like, I think it happened in America, of course, but then we found out what happens if you do it in America, you know? And, you know, America completely, like, you know, took away, you know, they just broke into them and just stole the food that's inside of them. We have delivery bots here. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Scrap was in ground only looking at cards. Only looking at the Pokemon cards. Disappointing.
That look straight out of science fiction. The future isn't coming.
My
it's already
AIGF
here, and
waifu?
Japan is
Okay,
leading
buddy.
it. Let me start with something that sounds impossible. Remember when getting food delivered meant waiting 30 to 45 minutes and hoping someone could find your apartment? Well, Japan said, not anymore. In Tokyo, you'll see small robots rolling down sidewalks, navigating through crowds, stopping at red lights, and delivering your lunch right to your office door.
This will never happen. This will literally never happen outside of Japan. This will literally never happen outside of Japan. Never, ever.
These aren't experiments, they're everywhere. Companies like Panasonic and ZMP have deployed thousands of delivery robots across Japanese cities.
That's crazy,
These
though.
machines use AI to dodge pedestrians, climb curbs, and even take elevators. They know exactly where they're going,
take an
and they're more
elevator?
reliable than most humans. But here's where it gets even crazier. Walk into a Japanese restaurant and you might not see a single human server. Robot waiters glide between tables, taking orders, delivering food, and even making conversation. At family
That is pretty cool. I ain't gonna fucking lie, dude. I'll be honest with you. I'd be very curious to see these kinds of restaurants.
Marked convenience stores, robots now stock shelves overnight, scanning products, checking inventory, and restocking faster than any human team could. By 2025, Japan plans to have robot workers in over 20,000 convenience stores nationwide. That's like replacing an entire city's workforce with machines. Now let's talk about something that will make you question reality. In Japan, trains don't just run on tracks, they hang from them. The Chiba Urban Monorail is the world's longest suspended monorail system, stretching over 15 kilometers through the city.
That looks so
These trains
fucking cool
literally
though, I ain't
dangle
gonna
upside
lie.
down from the rail above, carrying passengers through the sky like a roller coaster that forgot to come down. But here's what makes this absolutely genius. By hanging the train instead of supporting it from below, Japanese engineers solved massive problems. No ground-level tracks means no accidents with cars or pedestrians. The system takes up almost no space at street level, and it can make sharper turns and steeper climbs than conventional trains. The ride is smoother too because the train's weight hangs naturally instead of bouncing on top of rails. Japan has taken this concept even further. These suspended monorails now operate in multiple cities, moving millions of passengers every year with a safety record that's basically perfect. While other countries are still building the same old trains, Japan flipped the entire concept upside down.
There's got to be a downside to this, right? There has to be like some kind of like downside for this to be, because there's no such thing as something being perfect or something being good at the end of the day, right? There has to be some kind of downside to this, you know? Like what's the pros and what's the cons when it comes to like each, like having the train being on the, like, you know, stationary as like a bridge type of way or so, or having it floating up like this, you know? Maintenance costs, probably. It could be. It kind of really depends.
Literally. And if you think hanging trains are wild, walk through Tokyo's Shinjuku district and look up. You'll see a giant 3D calico cat that looks so real, you'll swear.
Oh yeah, Scrap. By any chance, did you go to this too as well? Did you take a look at this too? Tell me that. At least you could have gone here at least. Job market might even be more rough. It could be a lot more rougher. So when it comes to at least the waiters and everything, and the
It's
robots.
about to jump off the building. This isn't a hologram or AI trick. It's a curved LED screen using forced perspective to create a perfect 3D illusion visible from the street below. The cat stretches, meows, and stares down at pedestrians with cute realism. Millions of people stop every day just to watch a digital cat exist. But here's what makes this
pretty cool,
genius. Japan didn't just create viral content. They proved that curved LED technology could turn any building into a living canvas. Now dozens of these 3D billboards are appearing across Tokyo. Giant sneakers, spaceships, even whales swimming through the air. Japan turned advertising into art, and the whole world is copying it. But if you think digital cats on billboards are impressive, wait until you see what Japan's doing with robots that look and act almost human. Because behind all this futuristic spectacle is a crisis that should terrify every developed nation. Japan has over 29% of its population aged 65 or older.
Cyberpunk, probably.
That's the highest in the world.
But the problem is the problem is with that cyberpunk or so, it's gonna be a lot of old people that are gonna be alive and not a lot of young people because their population is pretty much declining.
But here's the real crisis nobody talks about. Japan is facing a loneliness epidemic. Over 5 million elderly Japanese people live completely alone, with some going weeks without a single conversation. And instead of treating this as unsolvable, Japan saw it as an opportunity to pioneer something revolutionary. They're fighting loneliness with an army of robots. Japan has been developing...
I don't know if that actually fixes the problem, to be honest. I feel like that just puts a band-aid on the wound. I don't really think that actually solves the actual problem, you know?
care robots for years. Robert can lift patients with incredible gentleness, while Paro, the therapeutic seal robot, is used in over 5,000 care facilities to reduce stress and improve mood in elderly patients with dementia. But those are just the beginning.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of waiting an old man or something like that to choke the shit out of it. I'm kind of like waiting just an old man just to fucking shake the shit out of it and just yelling at it and whatnot, and the thing doesn't react in any sort of way, but just keeps fucking shaking it and everything. I don't know. I'm just kind of like imagining something like that.
Panasonic created Nikobo, a small cushion-shaped robot designed specifically to combat loneliness. This little robot recognizes your voice, remembers conversations, responds to touch, and even gets excited when you come home. It makes eye contact, giggles, and shows genuine seeming emotions.
I feel like this is something that'd be really good for like little kids or so, like a toy for little kids or something, what's those things called that we used to take care of a long time ago? Like a little digital pet. What were they called again? I was gonna say Neopets, but it's not Neopets. Is it Neopets? Tamagotchis. There you go. That's what I was looking for. That's the one. Yeah, little Tamagotchis. That's what this kind of gives me. It gives me that same vibe or so. I don't know. I don't know if you would. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me though.
And studies show it genuinely reduces feelings of isolation and depression. Sony took companion robots to an entirely different level with Hanamoflor. This interactive, flower-shaped robot responds to human presence and emotion. When you approach, its petals open and shift colors based on the mood it detects in your voice and movements. Care facilities across Japan use Hanamoflor to create soothing environments for patients with anxiety and cognitive decline. But here's something that shows just how far Japan has integrated robots into daily life. At SoftBank Hawks baseball games, Pepper robots fill the stands, cheering for the team alongside human fans. They dance, wave, and celebrate home runs. Robots aren't just working in hospitals and care homes, they're attending baseball games as fans. Here's what's truly shocking. These robots aren't replacing human care. They're making it possible for an aging society to maintain dignity and independence. But here's where Japan stops being impressive and starts being absolutely terrifying. Remember watching giant robot anime as a kid and thinking it would never be real? Well, Tsubame—
Holy fucking Adam's apple, Jesus Christ. Sorry, it was just, I usually don't pay attention to that, but holy fucking, like, holy Jesus, dude, his Adam's apple was, like, so fucking, I don't think I've ever seen an Adam's apple that's so fucking, like, can you go back for a second real quick? Holy fucking shit, dude. He has he has a very prominent fucking Adam's apple, dude. That thing is sticking out, dude. Will robots fight rival fans like we humans do? Probably could happen, to be honest.
Well, Tsubame Industries just made it real. Meet Archax, a 4.5 meter tall piloted robot that you can actually buy. This isn't—
You can buy this robot? What? How much does it cost? How much is this stupid fucking robot? Huh? How much is it?
a statue, it's a functional mecha. Archax weighs 3.5 tons and is controlled from a cockpit inside the torso. The pilot sits surrounded by
We're so gonna get Titanfall 3 in the real world before GTA 6.
screens showing camera feeds from all angles, using joysticks to control the massive arms and hands.
What the fuck? Oh my god, it's literally Titanfall. Holy shit, dude, that is crazy.
Each finger moves independently with surprising precision. The robot can walk on 2 legs at speeds up to 10 kilometers per hour, or switch to a vehicle mode where it rolls on wheels for fast.
Oh my god, it can transform? Are you serious? This is also Transformer as well? Oh my goodness gracious me.
Movement. The CEO, Ryo Yoshida, openly says he's building these mechs because he grew up watching Gundam and wanted to make it real. But make no mistake, these machines have serious applications. Imagine a disaster zone too dangerous for humans. Archax could walk in, its pilot safe inside an armored cockpit, moving heavy debris and rescuing survivors. Tsubame Industries has already sold multiple units. Private collectors, tech companies, and research institutions are lining up. Japan just turned science fiction into commerce.
That's fucking crazy.
And while other countries
to see
debate how to
that.
handle aging populations, Japan is building the future they'll all need. But if you think giant piloted mechs are Japan's most ambitious project, think again. Honda just entered the space race, and they're doing it in the most Honda way possible. Meet the Honda Reusable Rocket System. And yes, this is the same company that makes your Civic.
A Honda reusable rocket.
While SpaceX dominates headlines with reusable rockets, Honda has been quietly developing their own system with a completely different approach. Their rocket uses a unique engine design that can be reused up to 100 times without major refurbishment.
What the fuck? Excuse me? 100 times? Damn, man, they're already thinking ahead before even Americans do. God damn, dude.
That's not just reusable, that's practically indestructible. Here's what makes this absolutely incredible. Honda's rocket engine uses a rotating detonation technology that's far more efficient than traditional combustion. Instead of burning fuel...
Holy shit, we're about to get light speed. You guys are literally almost there to get light speed in your guys' like, kind of like rockets or so, you know, to travel to other galaxies. Holy, I would not be surprised if Japan becomes the first one to unlock that, actually.
Steadily, it creates a continuous explosion that rotates around the engine at supersonic speeds. This generates 10 to 20% more thrust while using less fuel. It sounds like science fiction, but Honda has already successfully tested it multiple times. The rocket stands 30 meters tall and is designed to carry small satellites into orbit at a fraction of the cost of traditional launches. Honda's target is to make space access so cheap and reliable that launching a satellite becomes as routine as shipping a package. They're planning commercial launches within the next few years, but here's the real kicker. Honda isn't just building rockets, they're applying 70 years of automotive manufacturing expertise to space technology, mass production techniques, quality control systems,
weird freaking
cost reduction.
That is a freaking weird. Look at this car right here, the saloon car. Man, those are some very futuristic cars that we're seeing here.
Strategies. They're treating rockets like cars, and that approach could completely revolutionize the space industry.
Are we gonna have space cars? Are we gonna have space cars? That'd be fucking crazy if Honda becomes the first company to make space cars, dude.
Space isn't the final frontier anymore. It's just another engineering problem Japan decided to solve. Now let's talk about something that will genuinely disturb you. Japanese researchers at Osaka University have created robots so realistic you cannot tell them apart from humans until they move. Meet the Humanoid project. Professor Hiroshi Ishiguro created an android duplicate.
Yeah, but you can still tell that it's a robot though. Like you can you can still tell, you know? The skin doesn't look real, the hair doesn't look real, you know? Even before it moves or so, you can still tell that it's not human, you know?
Of himself that's so lifelike it's unsettling. This robot has artificial skin that feels warm to the touch, eyes that track movement naturally, and facial expressions controlled by dozens of micro actuators beneath the surface. Every wrinkle, every pore, every tiny detail is replicated with obsessive precision. Here's what's absolutely incredible. Professor Ishiguro sends his Humanoid to give lectures at universities while he stays in his lab hundreds of miles away. But Professor Ishiguro didn't stop there. He created Erica, an autonomous android that might be the most human-like robot ever built. Erica doesn't just look human, she acts human. She can hold natural conversations, make appropriate facial expressions, track multiple people in a room, and even tell when someone is bored or interested based on their body language.
Yeah, but you can still tell it's a robot, though, you know? It's gonna be a while until you make it like actually like natural. Like it actually looks like it like 100% it looks like a fucking human, you know? It's gonna take a while for you guys to do that. It's gonna take many years.
If you met me on the street, would I startle you? Would you greet me just like any other person?
She blinks at human intervals,
Thank you
breathes
for the follow.
naturally,
Welcome.
and has micro-expressions that happen unconsciously, just like a real person.
The relationship between robotics and the human body is closer than you might think.
Erica has been tested as a news anchor, a receptionist, and even as an actor in a science fiction film. In conversation tests, people interacting with Erica reported feeling like they were talking to a real person, not a machine. This isn't just about creating creepy
I don't
robot
know, dude.
doubles.
It's
The
still gonna take a
Humanoid and Erica
while.
projects are studying human perception, testing the limits of the uncanny valley, and answering a fundamental question: what makes us human? When you can build a machine that looks, sounds, and moves exactly like a person, what's left that separates us from them? Japan isn't just building better robots, they're erasing the line between human and machine entirely. And they're doing it right now, in labs across the country, pushing toward a future where you genuinely won't be able to tell the difference.
In the not-so-distant future, even robots like me might be a part of everyday life.
If Japan's using robots in cities and building giant mechs, you know they're not stopping at farming. Japan's agricultural sector faces a brutal reality. The average farmer is 68 years old.
Damn.
So Japan did what Japan does best. They automated everything. The Spread Corporation operates fully automated vegetable factories where robots do literally
Wow.
everything. No sunlight, no soil. The entire process from seed to supermarket takes just 40 days, and the system uses 99% less water than traditional farming. Kubota, one
That's
of
pretty
Japan's
crazy.
biggest agricultural
But my
companies,
question is like, is it only for like one specific type of like foods or vegetables and everything like that, or can it work for all of them? You know.
has developed fully autonomous tractors that can plow, plant, and harvest without a single human touching the controls. These machines use GPS accurate to within 2 centimeters, work 24 hours a day, and never get
That's fucking
tired.
crazy to see that.
But here's where it gets truly futuristic. Kawasaki's robot tomato pickers use AI vision systems to identify ripe tomatoes, calculate the exact angle and pressure needed, and pick them without bruising. Japan is literally growing food in buildings run by robots, while the rest of the world still relies on manual labor and unpredictable weather. And it's not just farms. Japan's factories have reached a level of automation that seems impossible. This isn't an experiment, it's already feeding people and building products. So what does all this mean? While other nations debate immigration policy and worry about declining birth rates, Japan chose a different path.
Well, Japan is still having a declining birth rate. Let's not forget about that. So
They decided to pioneer the future instead of fearing it. Every robot, every automated system, every impossible-looking
This is kinda
technology you've
crazy,
seen
though.
here is Japan's answer to a simple question. What happens when a nation refuses to quit? Japan's robotics industry is now worth over $60 billion and growing 10% every year. They produce 45% of the world's industrial robots.
I can solve that.
They're not
No,
just
you
building
can't.
technology,
You gotta send
they're
Mr.
building the
Libido Man
template
for
that every aging nation will eventually have to follow. South Korea is watching. Germany is watching. China is pouring billions into catching up. But here's what makes Japan's approach truly revolutionary. They're not treating technology as a replacement for humanity. They're using it to preserve human dignity. Robot caregivers let elderly people age at home with independence. Automated farms keep rural communities alive. Giant mechs turn engineering into art. This isn't a dystopian future where robots replace us. This is Japan showing the world that technology and
I feel like it's gonna be the same thing. You know, it's gonna be replacing like those some or those specific jobs in general. You know.
Humanity can evolve together. That a nation facing its greatest demographic challenge can respond not with despair, but with spectacular innovation. Japan isn't just building robots and infrastructure, they're building proof that the future doesn't have to be feared. That aging populations aren't a crisis waiting to happen. That a nation can face impossible odds and respond with technologies that inspire the entire world. Every delivery robot, every hanging train, every giant mech is Japan saying one thing: we refuse to quit. And the technologies they're creating today will reshape how humanity lives tomorrow. The future isn't coming, it's already here, and Japan built it. If you want to see more nations that refuse to quit, hit that subscribe button. This is Geoverse, where we document the mega projects and geopolitical moves shaping our world.
It will get to a point where we're literally gonna have Detroit become human kind of type of robots, to be honest. Hey King, I wonder how people truly feel about the new tech. So far this VOD does not talk about how people feel about it. Well, this VOD is not specifically aimed for that. This is just basically just like talking about like the futuristic of the tech or so that has been happening.
Drop a comment
not
below
really
and let me know
specifically
which
talking about
Japanese
that.
technology shocked you the most. The giant piloted mechs or something else entirely? And if you want to
I will be honest with you, the mechs were pretty cool. I will be honest. The mechs were pretty damn cool, you know? My curiosity is like, how much of the workforce is it going to be replaced? Is it going to be replacing everybody? You know, just like how America is doing it, basically, you know? Yeah, no worries. We're going to need augmentations to keep up. This is going to be a very interesting topic to see what's going to be happening, you know? Honestly, pretty freaking cool. There are some cool stuff here, but... we're gonna eventually have Detroit become human. I predicted 60%. You think so? This is definitely like, it's gonna be a thing like Detroit become human, dude. I ain't gonna lie, it just, you can't get rid of the robot-esque-ness from it. The only way you'll be able to get rid of it if it's like, if it naturally moves as a human and acts and all of this other stuff, you know, and that's kind of like the thing itself. Oh, you can already buy a robot already, so you can buy already one of these giant mechs already, so you can buy this. You can literally buy this right now. This is a thing that you can actually straight up buy. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, but it's pretty cool. There's some things that are cool. But then there's other things that are pretty questionable, to be honest. I don't know, man. It's just from the look from the camera, right? From all the recordings and maybe it does look more realistic in person, but like from the camera perspective, from just looking at it from a video or something like that, it just doesn't look very convincible. I don't know, maybe that's just me or so, you know. Never buy a Gen 1 or anything. I need Gen 20 Gundam. Okay, buddy. Alright. Okay. Shut the fuck up, I swear, you guys. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And, Futuristic Japan. But it doesn't really solve the problem of what's happening in Japan anyway. So, we'll see what happens. And, peace.